Man, it's hot in here. It is hot, hot, hot. Hold on. It's a good thing I'm wearing black. All right, people, I'm Garrett. This is Making Movies, and today we're talking about backpacks, specifically the best backpacks for filmmakers. I, like a lot of you, am constantly on the search for a better camera bag, something that kind of bridges the gap between function and style, something that can work as both kind of an everyday bag as well as a utilitarian camera bag. And that's a really hard balance to strike. I think that investing in a good backpack is important, especially if you're a solo shooter, which brings us to this bag. This is the everyday backpack from Peak Design. I have seen a couple of videos about this online, and so I reached out to them to ask them about this bag, and they sent this to me, and it has almost everything that I want in a backpack. First thing I like about this is that it is a drop bag. So I can take this latch, open it up, and then I have the ability to access things right in the top without having to unzip or zip the entire bag. And this mechanism here is like half clasp, half magnet. So you can adjust it depending on how full your bag is and then just pull it down and it locks into place and it's not going anywhere. You have to really pull it down to get it up. So it's got nice rigidity to it while still being a really easy to access bag. The laptop component here is on the top. I don't know if it's rated for anything, but the material that this bag is made out of is water wicking or resistant itself, and so is this zipper. So even if you're out in the elements, it will kind of hold its own. It has side access, which is really cool. So you have the ability to lay the bag on its side and then open it up or close it. Lots of little pockets and zippers and things to put all sorts of stuff in, which I absolutely love. The other thing for the safety feature that I like, it has these loops across the top here that you can take these little zipper, I don't know what you'd call them, tabs or something, and slide them here in through these loops and close them off here if you really wanted to make sure that you protected your gear if you're going through airports or busy areas like that. But the thing that I like most about this bag, let me now take the safety feature off, is the way that the inside is structured. Peak Design has engineered these bags that you can put other stuff in, so I don't have to access everything all at once if I don't want to. I can simply just grab one of the bags, pull it out, get the thing that I need, put it back in, and be on my way. I'm not the type of backpack user that I would have a full camera build in my bag to pull it out to shoot with. Really what I'm looking for in a backpack is something to just store and travel with, and then I would assemble my camera and do all of that later, or at the hotel presumably, or something like that. In my bag, I have a whole bunch of stuff. So some of the things that I have, of course, I carry my Rode Video Mic Pro Plus. This is the kind of go-to shotgun mic that I use on my GH5s. I then have the Dolby Dimensions. They're Dolby Atmos tuned. They're kind of bulky. They don't collapse down, but the feature that I really like about them are these three kind of buttons here on the back. Each of these buttons is paired to a different device. So for instance, if I'm watching something on my computer and I get a phone call, I can one touch one of these buttons and it will disconnect from one device and connect to the other. That's probably my favorite feature about these headphones, but I travel with these a lot. Then we have this guy. This will look familiar if you guys watched the video about faking the robot arm. This one's kind of a beefier version, but this is a manual espresso maker. Most of the time when I'm traveling and I'm in hotels and things, the coffee is trash. Depending on how early call times are, I don't always have the ability to go to a good coffee shop and get a good cup of coffee or a good espresso. And so in the hotel, I'll just use the coffee maker that they have to heat up some hot water, and then I use this guy and manually will pull my own shots of espresso, and this thing is absolutely awesome and it travels with me everywhere. Love this thing. In the side compartment here, I have three bags here. This, I believe, is their field bag. This is their tech bag. I might have that backwards actually. That might be the tech bag. Whatever. It's a tech bag. One's a tech bag, one's a field bag. And then I have this other bag. This is just a camera bag that I already had. This holds my GH5s with the Metabones attached to it, as well as my 16 to 35 35 and 24 to 70 Canon lenses. So I have my lenses, my camera, batteries, and cards all kind of fit right in here, and this slides kind of right here in the bottom of this bag. Really, really like it. You can see here inside this, hi, I'm over here still, that there's a ton of room inside this bag. You could use these little compartments here, which you can wall up or pull down, organize them however you want to put in full camera builds or whatever else. This is just how I end up using it. In this bag here, I carry a lot of stuff. These are all engineered to have a lot of different sleeves and pouches and components kind of in here. So I have my Osmo Pocket. If you haven't seen that video, here's a link there for that. This is an incredible on-the-go kind of B-roll shooter. The stuff that comes out of this thing is unbelievable for the size that it is. And oftentimes when I'm traveling solo, I either don't have the time or the space to pack a full-size gimbal into a backpack if I'm traveling alone. And this gives me amazing B-roll gimbal style shots for the times that I need those. Next, I have the Lumu Power. I think that there's a new one out here, but this device is iOS specific, and it is both a light and a color meter. So I'm able to not only get my light meter settings to know exactly what my camera should be at for the proper exposure, but having a color meter gives me the ability to know exactly what the Kelvin readout is for the environment that I'm in, whether it's outdoor, indoor, blended light, what have you. And it also includes tint or white balance offset, which is that green magenta offset there. So I can use this, plug it right into my phone, and get really, really accurate color and light meter reads, which gives me the ability to get the best possible exposure out of my camera, and it packs down super, super small. I also travel with my moment lenses. I do a lot of shooting with my phone, especially stills, because on a lot of shoots that I'm on, people will want still photos along with video, and if I already have that kitted out, and by that I mean the camera that you're looking at me with. For video, I can quickly slap on one of these lenses onto my phone. My phone takes amazing photos. Most smartphones at this point do, and then that gives me the ability to quickly kind of have video and photo all at once. I have the telephoto, the anamorphic, and the wide. Again, I made a video about the anamorphic, link over there. And then I have a filter mount, which gives me the ability to put on neutral density for these lenses, again, to have more light control. The next thing I've got is the Rode Wireless Go. This is a wireless lavalier system, and hands down the smallest wireless lav I've ever used. Because this is packed for if I'm traveling alone, this is great for when you're shooting an interview alone and you want to lav mic somebody and don't have the ability to have a sound recordist on set. That said, I have a lav mic for this here that this guy plugs right into here, like so, and then I now have a wireless lavalier mic. This guy uses this, plugs directly into my camera, and now I have wireless lav audio. Okay, so then most of the rest of this is all just boring cables and, well, oh, this is one more thing. This guy is interesting. So this is another Peak Design thing, the same folks that make that backpack. This is like a quick release system. You can mount this onto pretty much anything, whether you want to mount it to your belt or mount it to like the backpack strap. This guy comes apart like so, and you can clamp it over whatever you want, tighten it down. But the cool part is that there's this button here, and that button is what allows you to release or lock this in. I generally probably wouldn't use this on the base of my camera because I want something that's probably a little bit more standard of a plate for video stuff as opposed to like photo tripods and whatnot. So what I use this for is for this guy. I believe this is called Capture. This is a lens mount for this. Locks right into there. Mine is for EF lenses because the glass that I use is EF. But what's cool about this is this gives you the ability to hold lenses, so then that way lens changes are easier like this. So if I'm shooting, I have this on my backpack strapped like that, I want to do a lens change, I have the ability to then very quickly go in, take this off, put it on my camera, take the other one, put it on. If I even want to do it more quickly, I can then take this top one, put the lens that I took off my camera on the top here, take this one, put that on the camera itself, and then I can simply just take this and flip it over. So then that way it's nice and dangling the way that I'd want it to. This is an ingenious invention. I don't know if anything like this has existed before. This is the first time I've seen anything like it, and I find myself, especially when I'm shooting alone, using this all the time just because of how convenient it is. Again, whether it's on my belt if I'm like at a wedding, or if it is on my backpack if I'm shooting it while traveling. Brilliant device. And that's that bag. So then inside this one, so that's 2 of the 3 bags that I've got there. And then inside this one, and again, you can kind of see just how incredibly these things are designed. In here I have my small HD focus. This is a 5-inch monitor. If you're shooting video, never trust the monitor on your camera. It's so small, and it's impossible to actually be able to tell what it is that you're looking at or whether or not it's in focus. Even with focus peaking, you can still miss your marks depending on how shallow you're shooting. Having a monitor like this changes that entirely because it gives us a much brighter screen. It gives us the ability to really actually see what it is that we're shooting, of course, because of the screen size. And then Small HD's done an incredible job with this of having kind of pro features in not a pro price tagged monitor. So this has things like focus peaking and waveforms and false color and all of that built in. It is touch screen. You can load custom LUTs into it so that we can tell what your final image is going to look like in camera. A lot of really pro features in such a compact size. It runs off of your standard Sony batteries like this guy here, which is the NPF 774. The best part about these batteries is that they last a really long time when you're traveling by yourself without taking a lot of gear. The first thing that you don't have room for are lights. So it's really hard to pack good lights when you don't have a whole lot of room. And that's where this guy comes in. So I've had the Aperture M9s for a great long while, and this is kind of the big brother, the MX. I asked, it's MX, not M10, it's MX. And what's cool about this, here, I'll show you here. So it's got a ton of LEDs on the front. You can tell just kind of by their slight color difference. It is a bi-color light. So let me here, I'll blind myself and not you. Here we go. You have the ability, first of all, to dim the light. So you can make, like right now, the light's at its lowest. I can actually really brighten this light up like this, which is pretty incredible that you can get it this bright. The other thing that's really cool is you have the ability to warm or cool the light. So I can go here and I can make the light nice and cold, or I can come here and I can warm the light up. So this light gives me the ability to shoot in either daylight environments or tungsten environments or mixed environments, depending on what makes the most sense. But this light cranks. It is super bright, and it comes with these 2 different diffusion panels, in addition to coming with a nice kind of big soft box piece of plastic here like that. It's obviously not going to replace a big key light because it's this big, but it's internal battery powered. It has a heat sink across the back so it doesn't make any noise with a fan, and it can put out a lot of light when you need it most. That said, if you're traveling alone and you need to have some form of light control, you should always have a 5-in-1. Get over it. Ugh. A 5-in-1, it looks something like this. Ugh, that's a 5-in-1. A 5-in-1 has the ability to have white bounce like that, have a gold reflector like this. This is to reflect warm light like tungsten light or sunset style light. Inside this, there's a black side here, which is what we would call like a negative fill if we want to pull light off of something versus add to it. Then there's a silver reflective side here in the same way that the gold one works, except it would be with daylight or like morning light. And then on the inside here is a diffusion panel. So if you just want to soften light that's coming through, you just take this guy off and then light will shine through this. So this gives you a lot of light control while shooting solo without taking a whole lot of space. And then you just flip it like this. Boom. I just put that at the base of my clothes bag because I will travel with 2 bags, backpack that I carry on, and then I have my personal luggage bag, and that just goes in the bottom of that bag. I then have this guy that I travel with. This is an adapter because I have a MacBook Pro and I live in the land of dongles. This is a USB Type-C or Thunderbolt 3 to like everything that the computer should have. but doesn't because I don't know why. But I have this guy in there. I have more cables and batteries and things, and then I have two neutral density filters. These are the Polar Pro neutral densities, which is 2 to 5 stops and 6 to 9 stops. We'll talk about these more later. Really incredible ND. If you're gonna have any filters for your camera, though, that should be the first thing that you have is a good neutral density filter, followed by a polarizer. We'll get into all of that later, don't worry. And then the last thing I've got here is the hard drive. Where is my hard drive? The last interesting thing that I keep in this bag is a hard drive. So this is a hard drive that I recommend. It is a 1 terabyte, 7,200 RPM drive that runs on USB 3.1 and good read-write speeds off of these things. It's not solid state, but you're also not paying the solid state price. So I keep that in there where I store my media, and this guy zips up nice and neatly. That's a lot of gear to fit into a small backpack. And then of course I keep either a monopod or a travel tripod kind of hooked onto the side of the bag. That backpack then gives me the ability to store it underneath the seat in front of me if I'm traveling on an airplane. And then I have my clothes and luggage that I then would put in the overhead compartment. Oh, my laptop obviously fits in there. That's a no-brainer. The cool thing though about this, inside here, there's this pouch here in the top, which is kind of this little flat part. That's where I keep my brick and power cable. But then behind it, you can't really see it, but there are two kind of sleeves in here that are a divider. So I put my iPad in one and my laptop in the other. So that way I can have all of my devices all at once in one place. The best part about keeping things in the bags within the bags is that if I'm not on set and I am just living my everyday life and I don't need all of that stuff in my backpack, I can just pull out 2 or 3 bags. It's nice and neat and compact, and then I can go about my day. Or if I need to quickly go from having just a regular backpack to having a filmmaking backpack full of all of the gear that I need, I can pile it all in without having to really like pack and unpack and compartmentalize and then organize all of my stuff. It's all nice and neat and ready to go at a moment's notice. So that's how I use backpacks. I'm sure your backpack packs different backpack packs differently. I'm sure your backpack packs differently than mine, and there might be things that you feel are essential to your pack that aren't to mine. I'd love to know what you pack that you feel that I've missed, but that's how I pack. That's what I pack and the reasons why I pack it. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. If you want to see more stuff like this, hit subscribe. I love talking about gear. I could talk about gear all day long, but I want to make sure that the gear that we talk about is stuff that you're interested in. And as always, I will see you in the next episode.